Make some big bucks,
I legit just retched. I almost lost it.
You gotta find a
Stop it! Get rid of it, Jamie. Please stop.
On your
Jamie.
own, find a face smothering.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Jamie.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's been a few days since you've heard from me, and what better way to break the silence than with my full breakdown of JRE 2093 with the Sober October crew. I took my time with this one because I really wanted to do it justice, and what I found was 3 guys who have completely lost touch with their audience and themselves. And at the front of the pack is Rogan himself, who is basically holding Tom and Bert's hand and walking them into a burning building. So I'm going to deal with them one by one to give you the full picture as to exactly what's going on, and I'll make some brief comments about Ari Shaffir along the way as well. But just quickly, I'm sure you've already heard, Joe Rogan has signed a new multi-year $250 million deal with Spotify. Apparently, JRE will soon be available on all big podcasting platforms and return to YouTube as well, ending Spotify's exclusivity with the little guy. So instead of breaking down those details in this video, I'll be doing a separate dedicated video explaining all of those details because the nature of doing...
Look, Joe Rogan on Spotify has sucked balls. I believe it'll continue to suck balls just on multiple platforms. That's horrible news. I really thought you had enough money, but fucking liar.
His podcast with Brian Callen as a live stream similar to the Shorb Show and the Golden Hour because he's obviously not traveling as much and he can put more time into podcasting. And Brendan is probably the most extreme example of the Rogan effect, which is something I've spoken about at length. But as for Tom and Bert, in this episode of JRE, David Goggins
Bert Kreischer, poor fuck,
came up in conversation, and Bert mentioned that he knows Goggins reads his comments and uses them for motivation. And that was a common theme in this episode because Bert brought up reading comments several times throughout the 3.5-hour conversation, so it's obviously something that's been on his mind lately.
Can I tell you the most human thing about him is that he reads negative comments. Like when you see that he gets
records them,
he gets upset about them.
He listens to them when he runs.
give them to me.
But like that's where I connect with the guy. Where I go, I go, who would ever hate on David Goggins? Like that guy's nothing but inspiration.
You gotta let that go. There's people that are gonna hate on every thing that has ever existed, and it's not an honest perspective.
You get over it when you have $250 million and a shitty podcast.
Flavored by their own inadequacies. A big part of it is flavored by their own disastrous life.
So that was just a short mention of not reading comments. Rogan gave his usual boomer advice not to read comments, and I don't necessarily disagree with him. I mean, some people hate rich, famous, and successful people just because they've had bad luck or haven't been able to live the life